Welcome to Faith Talks Wood podcast. I am Tom from Mountain Valley Maker, and I am running solo this week. Not because of Will, but because of my schedule. And it has been a crazy busy week. I worked about 18 hours or so of overtime driving a bus this week, plus installed a ton of graphics, and just have not had a spare minute. Did all that because as soon as I'm done recording this, I'm actually hopping in my truck and driving 8 hours to Las Vegas, Nevada to play in the APA World Championships pool tournament with my 8-ball team. And so in order to take this week off, I had to work a bunch of overtime. So I, obviously have a paycheck, pay the bills, and then get everything done around the farm, get all my sign work done so there wouldn't be anything past due while I was gone. And that way I could just go down there and enjoy the week of playing pool and honestly relaxing. I could use a nap. So in between matches, I will probably be taking mini naps this week because I am exhausted, man. It's, I look back when I was younger, particularly when I was in the Air Force and young and wild and had all kind of energy. I would get up in the morning, go to the gym, get up like 5 o'clock, go to the gym, work out, be at work at 7, work, we worked like 7 to 5 back then, get off work. Then I had a second job at Baskin Robbins a couple nights a week, and the other nights I went to college. And then I'd get up, do it all over again the next day. And then on the weekends, back then I was a little wild. I go out to the club dancing. And it seems like I never slept. And I couldn't do that now to save my life. And I have no desire to do that now. But it is amazing how, as we age, our sleep habits change and our bodies change and our energy levels change. And I always say when I, see a young child running around 200 miles an hour, I wish I could catch some of that energy and bottle it up. But but I'm thankful. I'm old, but I'm still healthy and loving life. So I have been doing something a little different in my reading time for about a little over a month now. I don't know what made me just decide to do it, but on top of my normal reading, I decided to read one proverb every day for whatever day of the month that was. So like today is the 3rd of the month. This is Monday morning I'm recording. I read Proverbs 3 after I finish my normal reading. I've been doing that every day because Proverbs is a book of wisdom, and they're just, it's not one of those books like, Genesis, where we sit down and read chapter after chapter that tell us about one story or other parts of the Bible that are like that. But it's just little tidbits, little bites of wisdom that we can apply to our lives. And I've always loved Proverbs. I have a few of them memorized, but not enough of them. I'll be honest, I need to store a few more up in my heart. But it's been very interesting. And so I'm planning to do this the rest of the year, to read the entire book of Proverbs basically every month. Now, there'll be months like where there's only 30 days, so I'll only read the first 30, and there's 31 Proverbs. But whatever day of the month it is, I'm reading that proverb on top of my normal reading, and it's just been really interesting. So today I wanted to talk about wisdom because Proverbs is the book of wisdom. And so I'm going to read the first little piece here of chapter 1 of Proverbs, and then I'm going to jump over and read chapter 2. The first 7 verses in chapter 1 of Proverbs talks about the purpose of Proverbs. And the Proverbs are of Solomon, Daniel's son, said to be one of the wisest. He was the king of Israel at the time. But it says here in verse 2 through 7, their purpose is to teach people wisdom and discipline. to help them understand the insights of the wise. Their purpose is to teach people to live disciplined and successful lives, to help them do what is right, just, and fair. These proverbs will give insight to the simple and knowledge and discernment to the young. Let the wise listen to these proverbs and become even wiser. Let those with understanding receive guidance by exploring the meaning in these proverbs and parables, the words of the wise, and their riddles. Fear of the Lord is the foundation of true knowledge, but fools despise wisdom and discipline. And so I love how it lays out what the purpose is and kind of what happens if we do seek them. But fools despise wisdom and discipline. And we see that a lot in our culture today. But when we take the time to seek wisdom through God's word, through other wise men and people in our life, it just lays the foundation for success, as it says there. And the wise listen to these proverbs and become even wiser. Let those with understanding receive guidance by exploring the meaning. So it's not just about reading it. It's like reading it and understanding it. If you don't understand it, it's seeking out the meaning. And so it's studying. It's not just reading a story or a little tidbit of information, but it's seeking the understanding and the meaning of these. And chapter 2 of Proverbs, it talks about the benefits of wisdom. And when I was reading this yesterday, it just really, I was like, wow, why have I not been reading these Proverbs every single day? Honestly, I think if you had to pick one book out of the Bible and just read it only, man, Proverbs might be the one to go to because it's just jam-packed with wisdom. Now, obviously, we want to read the Gospels and know about Jesus and sacrifice and all, but it's just an amazing book. So let's hop into chapter 2 here, and I'm reading in my NLT today. I just kind of like the way it's an easy read on these Proverbs. But it says the benefits of wisdom. My child, listen to what I say and treasure my commands. Tune your ears to wisdom and concentrate on understanding. Let's pause there. So tune your ears to wisdom and concentrate on understanding. And how often do we hear an older gentleman or somebody or read something, but we don't understand it? And so when we hear a tidbit of wisdom, whether it's reading it in the Word or from one of the elders in our church, concentrate on understanding. So if you don't understand what's been shared with you or what you read, now it's time to dig deeper and until we understand that. It's the same thing with woodworking. You wouldn't, have somebody tell you to do something, you don't understand it, and you just go try to do it anyway. You ask the why, you ask the how, understand the safety, how everything operates, what the end goal is, what the purpose of the tool is, and the process. I mean, we want to gain understanding. Continue on here in verse 3. Cry out for insight and ask for understanding. There it goes. Cry out for it. And this is where I see in our culture today, among not all young people. So if you're young, I certainly am not saying all young people, but a lot of young people, they don't have respect for their elders and understand the knowledge and wisdom. And I would say when I was younger, I may have been a little this way, but it didn't take me long to figure out that I could learn a lot from the older generation. I used to love sitting just listening to my papa and grandpa talk. And if you've listened to podcasts much, you know that I had a woodworking mentor. Boyd Sprague was his name. And I met Boyd at a paint store. So when I got out of the Air Force, I had a couple little jobs, worked at Home Depot a little bit, hung iron a little bit, trying to find what I wanted to do with my life, and ended up going to manage a paint store because I worked in the paint department at Home Depot, learned a little bit there, and then saw an opening at a privately owned paint store for the general manager position, applied, and me and the owner just hit it off. He hired me. He was one of these guys, John Owen was his name, that was just willing to share and teach. And the funny thing is, so Boyd, at the time when I went to work there, Boyd was probably 65, 70 years old. John, the owner of the store, was probably, I'm guessing, in his lower 50s. And then here the young 25, 26-year-old comes in. And I was so blessed to get to work there because how John and Boyd met is they were business partners. Boyd had done the same thing where he kind of took John on, taught him everything he knew, and mentored him. And then John then hires me, starts mentoring me. And in the process, I meet Boyd, and we get to talking about woodworking one day. And I'm like, yeah, I took wood shop in high school. I really like making stuff. And he invited me over to his shop. And after the first day I went there, it was just like if I wasn't at work, I was hanging out at Boyd's house, just soaking up information. And I don't see that a lot among young people today, where they realize if they could actually gain a lot of knowledge and wisdom from older people, and really seeking out the understanding from the wisdom. But continue on there, on chapter 4. Search for them as you would for silver, and seek them like hidden treasures. For the Lord grants wisdom, from his mouth come knowledge and understanding. He grants a treasure of common sense to the honest. He is a shield to those who walk with integrity. And if you look around our culture, there is a massive absence of common sense. And what's the reason? People aren't seeking the Lord. He grants a treasure of common sense to the honest. Powerful words. So continuing on in verse 8, he guards the path of the just and protects those who are faithful to him. Then you will understand what is right, just, and fair, and you will find the right way to go. For wisdom will enter your heart, and knowledge will fill you with joy. Wise choices will watch over you. Understanding will keep you safe. I love that for wisdom will enter your heart, and knowledge will fill you with joy. Isn't it funny how those who are seeking, you meet an older person particularly who's been walking with the Lord for 40, 50 years, and they're just full of joy. And when you get filled with wisdom and knowledge and truth from the Lord, that's what it does. It just fills you with joy. And then it goes on saying that the wise choices watch over you, and understanding will keep you safe. And to walk in the world, there's all types of dangers around us. Some of those being physical dangers, some of them being mental, some of them being spiritual. But wisdom and understanding will protect you from them. It goes on in verse 12. Wisdom will save you from evil people, from those whose words are twisted. These men turn from the right way to walk down dark paths. They take pleasure in doing wrong, and they enjoy the twisted ways of evil. Their actions are crooked, and their ways are wrong. Wisdom will save you from the immoral woman, from the seductive words of the promiscuous woman. She has abandoned her husband and ignores the covenant she made before God. Entering her house leads to death. It is the road to the grave. The man who visits her is doomed. He will never reach the paths of life. Follow the steps of good men instead, and stay on the paths of the righteous. For only the godly will live in the land, and those with integrity will remain in it. But the wicked will be removed from the land, and the treacherous will be uprooted. We don't want to be one of those that's removed from the land. We want to be one of those that gets to stay in the land. And it says to do that, follow the steps of good men instead, and stay on the paths of righteous. So my encouragement to you this week is hop in Proverbs. Maybe you don't have to read a whole chapter, but maybe just read 5 or 10 verses of it each day and kind of mull over it. And if you don't understand it, go find a wise man in your church, a mentor. If you don't already have that, that is one thing I highly, highly recommend. And you've probably heard me say it on this podcast before. My church in North Carolina, we had a mentor and symbol of the cross, and meaning that the shape of the cross, we have Jesus, obviously, that may pay the ultimate sacrifice for us to reach down and pull us up to heaven. And our goal as Christian men should be to kind of mimic that shape as well. So once we're saved and we become knowledgeable and strong in our faith, I had a pastor that told me one time our goal is to follow Jesus and drag somebody with us. And so, meaning now it's time that we reach down as we grow in faith, we reach down and bring somebody else along. And that's going to look different day after day, year after year as you walk in your faith. And it has nothing to do with age. Now, and what I mean by this, if a 40-year-old man comes to know Jesus today, he could be mentored by a 30-year-old man or 25-year-old man that got saved when they were 15 and been walking in the faith 10, 15 years. So it's about maturity in the faith. But if you find a older gentleman that's been walking with the Lord for decades, then you're going to get a lot of life wisdom, a lot of spiritual wisdom. But for example, for me, my pastor back in North Carolina, Joe Adams, he's probably 15 years younger than me, maybe 10, at least 10 to 12 years. I'd probably say 15 or so. And he was one of my mentors when I lived there. I also had another mentor that was a retired colonel from the Army and been walking in the Lord for like 40 years that was older than me. So don't let age be the factor. Let the spiritual development of the person here. Pastor Will at my church, he's 20 years younger than me, much stronger in the faith. And but I call him all the time and ask questions, seek out that wisdom. I have a guy in my men's group that's older than me, and have guys in my men's group that are younger than me. And so what it's about is, in the shape of the cross, is we're there in our faith. We are reaching up to Jesus. We're reaching backwards or down to somebody new in the faith or doesn't have it, bringing them along. And then side by side to the two sides of the cross are those brothers that are where we're at in our walk. And we're there holding each other's arm, taking each other along, supporting one another. But yeah, if you don't have a mentor, that is one of the greatest things that you can do. Find somebody who is stronger in the faith than you, because if they're strong in the faith, they're not going to be judgmental, and they're not going to look down on you for coming to ask questions. They're going to admire you for coming to ask questions, because wise men seek counsel. And so find that if you don't already do. And if you've not already tried bringing somebody along. Maybe it's time for you to start mentoring somebody. But it's all about wisdom. And so we find wisdom in the Word. We find wisdom through other men. And to be godly men, we want to be wise. And so wisdom has just been on my heart. I've been reading Proverbs for, like I said, now it's been about 6 weeks ago when I all of a sudden just had this idea pop up in my head and started doing it. And I'm just eating up the Proverbs every day and really enjoying it. So maybe give that a try and let me know what you think. I am getting ready to go in there, get the rest of my stuff packed, throw it in the truck, and begin my journey toward Las Vegas. So if you listen to this, pray for me. Pray I'll play well, that most importantly, that I have safe travels to and from. But and that I'd be a light there in a dark place. That's the one thing. I could never live in a place like Las Vegas. It's just the filth and I'm just not a gambler. I will play a blackjack machine. I always give myself like a $20 budget to go try out, and I've gotten lucky in one. But it's just a entertainment luck type thing. I don't really like gambling. Work too hard for my money. Cannot stand all the sexual perversion that's out there. It's just that they call it Sin City for a reason. But I'm going to be there, and so I pray that while I'm there, that I could be a light in a dark place. Maybe God have put somebody in my path that I could share the gospel with, and then playing pool aspect. Same thing, being a good sportsmanship, whether I win or lose, and on the table, and just stand out. That not stand out as a great pool player, but like there's something different about that guy, being to stand out. And so if you listen to this week, please pray for me that I have those opportunities and that I have safe travels to and from, and play really, really well. I would love to help my team win big. So, yeah. And also, guys, I believe that Daniel and Casey will be heading out next week as well to go on their trip to Ecuador to install the water system. So really want to support them. And so if you've not already made a donation, I pray that you'd go look up Project Clean Water and make a donation. It doesn't matter the size, just and send them a message. And then most importantly, pray for them. Pray that they would obviously have safe travels to and from. Traveling down there in a country like that, it's not like hopping on the interstate here and traveling to a city in what I consider a really safe country we live in, unless you go to, certain cities and certain areas. But the vast majority of our country, anybody can hop in their car or on a bicycle or whatever and travel and not fear for their life. Obviously things do happen here too, but not in the same way. And there are other health dangers down there as well because of the habitat they're in. And so just pray safe travels for them and their whole crew, that they're able to just make a huge impact in that region, not just through the installation of the clean drinking water systems, but that they would be able to make personal contact and share the gospel. And the neat thing also is they get to go back and check up on ones they've already installed, and those families have already been impacted physically by having clean water. But I think with that softened heart, they're going to be more open for receiving the gospel. So just pray they get those opportunities. They have safe travels to and from, and make a big impact physically with the water drinking systems and a big spiritual impact in the region, sharing the gospel. So, guys, love you. Appreciate you listening, and I hope you have a blessed week. Until next time, I am Tom from Mountain Valley Maker.